and go live. All right, we should be live. So those of you hanging out in the YouTube chat, please let me know, can you hear me? And especially, can you hear the guests? Because my audio and their audio live is on different streams. So
yes,
how's everybody doing?
Yeah, hopefully the audio works.
And of course, before we start, I do want to wish everybody a Happy New Year.
You too, guys.
Yeah.
It's going to be New Year's in T-minus 6 hours.
I know. This year just flew by.
It sure did.
You know, it's crazy how fast this flew by. I think because we got so used to the crazy world that was 2020, 2021. Then, you know, 2022 and 2023 being much more normal, you know, after, you know, the COVID lockdown and everything, the world starting to get back to the way things were. It was very different.
Yep. Very, very different.
Yeah, Big Pod is in the waiting room.
Leave him there.
Big Pod, I wish I could turn the waiting room off, but I don't know where that setting is.
You guys hear me?
Yep.
We hear you.
Yeah, good.
I do.
I was like, leave Big Pod in the waiting room.
Yeah, and Aliens, he may not be mic'd up. He wrote in the private Zoom chat, it's 5 p.m. and he just opened his first beer. So about to get the party started. So what's everybody been up to? Anybody been doing anything interesting with Linux and free and open source software? Or
Docker containers for life.
Really?
Yeah.
I just get on my head in OpenSUSE.
OpenSUSE. Nice.
How you getting on with it?
Well, everything works extremely well. I was a little bit surprised because when I tried it 1 year ago, it was not as stable, but now actively tried to destroy it. And it managed to reboot and all things gets back together some miraculously way. But the only thing I couldn't manage, but I figured it out, it was the driver to my Canon printer, because it needs the 32 bits library. And I didn't have it because I run Pure 64. But from this year, 2024, OpenSUSE is my distro.
Yeah. We had some distro talk in the chat before I got here, before the stream started. Someone in the chat wrote, I tried Ubuntu, worst distro ever, Arch all the way. Then he also said, tried Fedora. Fedora is the same as Ubuntu, bloated with 10 gigs. Snap package meant, well, Fedora is not using snaps, using Flatpaks, but I get your point. But they're not bloated. They don't, neither Ubuntu or Fedora install snaps or Flatpaks out of the box.
Unless he's talking about Novara.
Yeah, because just mainline Ubuntu and mainline Fedora, they have Flatpak and snaps there, but they don't install any.
I believe Fedora nowadays come with some Flatpaks.
Does it? Or are they doing? I know they were talking about doing LibreOffice as a Flatpak.
LibreOffice might be one of them, and I believe, or I might be wrong. Believe there might be some basic GNOME things that are Flatpaks now.
Yeah.
But
I know with
but what would you call it? Bloated? I mean, that's the thing. I wouldn't call either one of those distros necessarily bloated. There's bloated distros out there that have a lot of stuff installed on them. Ubuntu and Fedora are definitely not. Well, I don't know. In my opinion, they're way not bloated. Like they're on the other end of the spectrum.
Yeah, just take Debian. When you install Debian, you have a half an hour to debloat all the shit games and I don't know what.
Yeah.
And it's supposed to be the most stable version. I have a little question mark about that. If you use all that bloat, I'm not so sure it's so stable anymore.
Well, I think they install a lot because they're trying to be stable. They're trying to be the distro that pretty much everybody can use, and it just works out of the box. And with that, they install. There's a ton of libraries and things that get shipped with it.
My problem with the whole idea of bloat is at the very beginning of the fact that this idea even exists, because is kind of a weird idea to begin with, because you're saying that because something is using a bit more space for a specific reason and a valid reason, to be honest,
Yeah.
it is worse than the thing that is using less space, in many cases marginally less space.
Well, I would agree with the space thing because, for example, the person in the chat that wrote this comment mentioned they were using 10 gigs of extra space on these kinds of package formats. Okay, 10 gigs of your hard drive. What hard drive do you have? I'm betting it's at least 500 gigs, probably a terabyte. So what is 10 gigs of whatever package that you didn't want? That's not...
Let me paint you a picture. I don't have a problem with additional 10 gigs on my old laptops that runs 256 gigabytes SSD.
Yeah.
If that kind of device doesn't have a problem, then anything bigger, and most of us nowadays run bigger.
Yeah, I pretty much every machine, even the budget machines you buy, like the really cheap $300, $400 laptops, they're gonna have 500 gigs. You know,
I haven't seen a single device that has less than 512 gigabyte in stored these days.
Right. I've got a couple of super chats. Appreciate that, Anonymous X. He didn't leave a message, nor did Christian. Thank you guys. Hope you guys have a happy new year. Actually, Christian did wish us a happy new year. Yeah. Same to you, buddy. Appreciate that.
Then comes the idea of bloat when it comes to RAM, and that's even...
Yeah. I get that one. Now that's one I understand. That's the one I get on is
open HTOP and tell me how much RAM you're using, and I'm gonna tell you you're not using that much RAM.
Well, right now I can tell you I'm using 8 gigs, but you know I've got 64 gigs.
Depending on what you count as used RAM, you don't use that much RAM. If you're counting as everything, that means buffers, caches, actual software filling up RAM. Yes, you're using 8 gigs. But
no, I don't mind programs.
8 gigs.
I don't mind programs using RAM. I mean, I have all that RAM for programs to use it. The problem is some programs, I don't know, like they're using more RAM than what they should, it seems, because I don't know what all that RAM is going to. Like when you open up the GNOME desktop environment.
In RAM. Simple as that, because they're storing as much as possible in RAM. They're filling additional space that they know they might require in future. So they're basically...
Yeah, it's reserving.
Covering their bases. And there are caches.
What they should.
And so on. There's so many things that go beyond just their files for what is currently running. That it is speeding up your operating system, speeding up your experience, which would normally just be actually a lot slower if we remove all buffers, all caches, all RAM FSs, all stuff like that. It would be a lot slower. That's why current systems can be that fast. It's because a lot of the stuff we put in RAM. That's why systems slow down significantly when you fill up RAM, especially systems that act more like real-time operating systems, like actual RTOS and like Windows. You see them slow down as you fill RAM, because they actually have less space to just throw things there that you should have in RAM.
Yeah, like for example, when I started using Docker containers on my Pi, I realized that, and also on my VPS, I realized that although I'm running two Docker containers on my VPS, one for Nginx proxy manager, one for Vault Warden, but still it's using almost a gig of RAM. Yes. Why? Because that although I'm running one Docker.
We got some feedback. Guys, if you have earbuds or headphones, put them on. Otherwise, the computer speakers are going to bleed into your microphone and we're going to get some nasty feedback. So pretty much anytime you join any live stream on YouTube or Twitch, you really need to use earbuds. Otherwise, it's going to be an audio issue.
Yeah. Well, Docker containers, they reserve RAM in the
Yes.
and on the server, just to be able to speed up your, as Big Bob was saying, to speed up your experience, because when it comes to servers, you need good performance. Otherwise, it's going to be a bad experience. And like NixOS, also, you have an option to run the entire OS from RAM. So you're going to have a lot of RAM being used up.
I am one of those people that rants all the time how much RAM is used by servers, because I'm gonna say my server, if I just open up my server dashboard for my Grafana for my servers, I literally have 32 gigs of RAM server just so I can run those applications, because 17 gigs of that RAM is full and my CPU is at 1% usage.
Yeah, but your CPU, I mean,
Yes.
we got people
And my CPU
waiting.
and disk are at that 1% usage. Why? Because everything is in the RAM already and it's as fast as possible. CPU don't have to wait. None of that. It just works as fast as possible. It speeds up our experience significantly.
Yeah. What does the server do? You mentioned the CPU is only using 1%. What exactly are you doing with that server?
Various stuff. So currently it's running GitLab server. It's running my doc or OCI container registry. Running a couple other stuff, a lot of other stuff actually. Like most of the stuff I put that are kind of available, so you can access it from internet, are on that server.
I had to do a quick Google to figure out how to automatically admit everybody in Zoom. Sorry about you guys that had to wait in the waiting room. Apparently what you do is you click on the participants thing at the bottom of the screen, and you get the little pop-out window, and then from there, there's a little settings menu.
Yeah.
It's kind of hidden. Because there's like a main settings window that has all the settings for Zoom, but I couldn't find it in that one.
Yeah.
It's kind of like KDE, right? It's got settings everywhere. You don't know where everything's at.
Oh, yeah. Nice one. You just hit me where it hurts, DT.
It is absolutely correct.
Happy New Year, all.
Are you saying KDE is absolutely correct? Happy New Year, Ricky.
I'm saying you were absolutely correct. It has 1,000,001 settings. Problem is that they are all over the place, hidden behind 3,000 menus, and that's not a good user experience.
No, okay. There's the KDE guy in the room, and you want to attack KDE, and you want to hurt me. Okay, I entered the BDSM room.
Well, to be fair, those complaints about the settings and everything in KDE, they've been around for 20 years. Like, people have been complaining about all of that. So
yeah, at least on that one, I agree with you guys, because being a KDE fanboy, yes, I tend to use the search functionality in the KDE settings more often than I have to. But hey, at least there's a search functionality.
I was about to say, at least you can search.
Yeah. So, yeah, I did venture into something other than Arch, and that is Nobara. But my problem with Fedora, any Fedora-based distribution, is that the Fedora Grub /OS Prober don't like no Arch Grub and OS Prober. They do not talk to each other very well.
You trying to dual boot? Is that what you're trying to do?
Yes, on a separate drive, of course, not on the same drive. But the problem is that Arch uses multiple init ramfs's in the same in Grub, whereas Fedora does not like that. It says me see Arch, but me no likey, so me no let you in. So it won't let you. It's not gonna let you in. It just tells you error. Sorry, can't boot something that has multiple init RAMFSs. So I'm stuck at selecting the Fedora from the BIOS to be able to
be fair, you're trying to dual boot two distros that are two of the most opinionated distros as far as how they do things. So it's not shocking that they don't play nice together.
That is true. That is true.
And
Unfortunately,
it is actually pretty problematic how Arch does boot.
It's also problematic how Manjaro is based on Arch, but Manjaro does different things. But Manjaro has serious issues sometimes when you're trying to dual boot. I haven't used Manjaro in a couple of years, but I remember the Manjaro grub would break all the time, especially when you're dual booting.
Arch is bad, but Manjaro goes and adds additional gear to that badness.
They double down on it, right?
I agree wholeheartedly on that one. But I've been running Manjaro for the past 3 years, getting into the 4th year without issues, because all I have, as I keep repeating, all I have are Plex and my tool installed. That's it. I don't have anything else installed on it. If you don't have anything installed on it, specifically AUR packages, it will function just fine.
Yeah, but that's kind of true for anything.
Yeah.
True.
I mean, if you don't do anything with it, I mean, that's the same for all distros, right? It should work just fine. Just don't touch it, right?
Yeah, don't touch it. By the way, guys, I want to let everyone know, since I'm on the podcast, QEMU latest update, Burp Manager latest update has issues with VD Agent. It's causing, sometimes with some distros, it fails to boot into the live environment. With other distros, it boots with a broken X11 or Wayland. So
yeah, I saw that massive QEMU update the other day. All those libraries. It kind of scared me.
Yeah, it is scary, because if you manage to boot a distro in X11, it's gonna be all over the place. When you move Windows are going to break into they're gonna make staircase effect. And if you boot into Wayland, well, good luck booting into Wayland.
Yeah. Another program that had a update, if you're on Arch-based distro, Alacrity. I know so many of you guys use the Alacrity terminal. It will now have a new config file, so it's not going to use alacrity.yaml. It's going to use alacrity.toml. But the good news is they include a command, and it will tell you the command as soon as you open the terminal for the first time. Run this command, and it will convert your existing YAML file to a TOML file for you. You don't have to do anything.
That's the right way of doing things. That's the right way of doing things. Not just move things around and not tell you anything, and you have to figure things out on your own.
No, that's not the right way of doing things. Sorry. As a professional developer, I have to tell that's the wrong way of doing things.
Come on.
Conversion.
No, let him explain. Yeah, let him explain. I want to hear.
Radio conversion tool. That's step number 1. Step number 2 is for a certain time maintain compatibility. That's step number 2. But step number 0 is have a long deprecation notice.
Yes. You see, I figured you were going to go this route, Big Pod. That's why I wanted to give you a chance to explain, because I thought you were going to say something that I do agree with. And I'm a big backwards compatibility guy. I don't mind you breaking it, but you can't break it like immediately. It can't be like you get a 1-day notice. Hey, all your configs are going to be broken tomorrow, you know. So I don't like that.
Prepare the community. Prepare everybody. Give a time of when it's in between. Both of them work. It could and have a way to go between one and the other. Those are the 3 steps you need to have.
Yeah.
If you don't have those, all 3 of them, you didn't do a good job of moving to something different.
Because this is a perfect example. They don't have to break it immediately, because you were already reading that YAML file. Keep reading it if they have it. If they have the new TOML file, read it instead. But you don't have to just immediately make that switch.
It's for them to actually read either it's basically a single, or more say it's 3 lines of code. It's a switch statement. And it's one library, use one library or use another library. Using
So
the
basically
same
what you
class,
are saying-
everything.
So basically, what you
Sa-
are saying,
same
Big Pod,
fun.
is have a if statement. If the YAML file exists, read it. If
Hello.
the
We'll
TOML
probably do the newer one. If the TOML file
Actually,
exists,
yeah,
read it.
you should, if
And if
TOML
it-
file exists, use that.
Hello.
If not,
We get you.
use the
Hello.
old way. Hello, hello.
and I want to. Can I take a minute because I'm going to leave early today because I have New Year's festivities.
Well,
to attend.
obviously, I know
Yeah,
you guys
go
are.
ahead.
It's probably already a party, right? So,
Yeah, there's a
Yeah.
party at a friend's house, so I'm just gonna lay this out there. Since I'm a distro maintainer, I'm testing Plasma 6, and let me say this. Now I see why people complain about Arch so much, because now there's a thing where Arch pushed the latest Qt 6.7 beta libraries. They pushed them to the unstable repository. Unstable branch on Arch repositories. So now, since Plasma 6 uses Qt6, it's pulling in the Qt 6.7 beta instead of the Qt 6.6 beta, which the entire beta was built on. Plasma 6 beta was built on. So it's pulling in libraries that it's incompatible with, because the Arch maintainers of Qt6 decided to delete the 6.6 and put Qt 6.7. Now the entire KCM library, Qt library for Plasma 6 is broken. So you cannot even open settings. You cannot. So I have no ability to test anything for the upcoming version of my distro. So.
Wow.
Why is Arch doing this? Why is Arch doing this?
no idea.
The KDE
Yeah, go
people
ahead, Big.
specifically said, do not use Qt 6.7, use Qt 6.6. But Arch did not listen. They broke everything.
Well, I will say this: I have become increasingly concerned over the last year. And I mentioned this the other day that, I almost had to reinstall here on my main production machine. And if I did end up reinstalling, I was actually not going to install an Arch-based distro.
Yep.
I was probably going to do something like Debian Stable, because Arch, it is starting to really bug the hell out of me how many packages are out of date.
You're not the only one.
There are so many packages now out of date in the main repositories. Not the AUR. The AUR, that's a Wild West. I get that. In the main repositories, there are so many things that are a year or more flagged out of date for a bleeding edge rolling release distribution. How is I really think that Arch has become so big, so popular, it's starting to collapse under its own weight. There's not enough people working on that thing to maintain it.
Exactly.
Hey there.
And if we take, for example, the AUR, how many packages are on the AUR? There's over 16,000 packages.
Thousands, yeah.
16,000 packages, but how many maintainers? There's only 64 maintainers.
Rolling release distribution. Right. How is
Oh, feedback.
Yeah.
What the hell?
So
that was me, guys. Sorry, I'm trying to mute my phone.
That's fine.
It's okay.
Oh, hey, Alex.
Hey, what's up, Kuya? How are you doing?
I'm
Well, I
doing
hear
good.
how you do. I hear how you doing. It's not very pleasant.
Yeah.
Not me.
I gotta
Everybody
tell you guys,
using Arch.
I'm getting sick and tired of this Arch BS myself. I mean, go ahead, Steve. I'll let you continue.
All of us, even us maintainers like you and I, Ben, we are sick and tired of having to fix issues put on our shoulders by the lack of attention and the lack of quality control on the Arch side of things. It's about time to move.
You just install Debian, the latest Debian stable, and then you worry about breakages 2 years down the road when you need to update. Right?
Is that what you're going to roll with, Kiki?
I might.
I'm giving Fedora. I'm giving Fedora a try. Nobara a try because
it's funny how we're all bailing shit because I just checked out OpenSUSE again. Yeah, tumbleweed.
Yeah.
You know what? Then
I
you got
mean-
the LTS for Ubuntu coming out just 4 months from now. So that might be an option as well, because that's another one you
Yeah.
install and you don't have to worry about it for at least 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, 'cause
We
they're
need
built
something
off
more
of
stable.
Yeah, they're built off of a Debian testing, I believe, or something like that.
well, the LTS is, but more stable
well.
packages, I believe. But yeah,
I
they-
believe it's built out of testing, yes, but it is separately tested by Canonical.
Right.
It's not as aren't the interim releases? They're pulling a lot more from testing and even SID, I think, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's more that they are pulling as much as they can, so it's a lot newer, but they test everything to the utmost degree. They have a lot of automated testing and stuff like that.
Right.
Mhm.
And
I
if
gotta tell you.
may return to a bit on the Arch topic and packaging. As far as I understood Arch packaging, and this is someone who's looking from outside, being heavily connected with other distro packaging.
Mhm.
I always thought the idea that basically when it came to Arch, its main repos, as far as I understood, that every packager had complete reign over their packages.
Yes,
Right.
that is correct.
Which,
Right.
to me,
Well,
that sounded like, I'm not say insane, but
It is a little
completely-
bit, because it's a community distro, but you do have to have like strong leadership, people that are absolutely in charge, that you need that dictator, right? You need the person that actually runs the whole show, and whatever he says
on
goes.
Arch, it's not the case.
Yeah.
There
We
is
had
no
Steve
control.
here. Steve had his hand raised. Did you want to jump in here, Steve?
Me?
No, Steve, that is
Steve.
muted.
Morel. Yeah, what he's asking in the chat about switching over from Pop OS to Manjaro. Oh, he's unmuted
oh
now.
Lord.
Yeah, Steve, can you?
Hey guys, can you hear me?
We got you. We got you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I've used different distros for years. I'm a physician. I'm not an expert on computers, so I just learned thanks to you guys on YouTube. Everything you post, I learned from.
That's awesome.
I used Manjaro for a long time. I noticed with it being rolling that things break, and I actually one of my parents who were senior citizens running Manjaro, and I noticed on a recent update, like the QT styles was breaking things. I had to rebuild it. Luckily, there was some fix online that worked, so I just followed their sudo whatever. But I buy System 76 machines because they're already made to run Linux without a problem, and I'm not a huge fan of Pop OS, and I know that's kind of a derivative of Debian, but I'm a little nervous about switching to another distro and losing my settings and all that stuff.
Who is this man and why does he speak this evil of not being a fan of Pop OS?
Well, I will say one thing, Steve, that a lot of YouTubers don't do a good job of. Those of us that do use Arch is explaining. A lot of us that do use rolling release distros like Arch and Gentoo, we're not running any of the big desktop environments like KDE and GNOME. It's because there's so many packages involved with those that you're going to experience more breakage running those than if you were, for example, using i3 or whatever, because there's just, it's not a full desktop environment. There's less packages rolling.
Right.
So when you mentioned Manjaro, I assumed you were using the KDE version. So when you said, it breaks all the time, I laughed because I know I've run the KDE version of Manjaro a time or two. So
I actually, I don't know if this, I haven't used Zoom in a long time. Can you hear me right now?
Yeah.
we got you.
Yeah, we're here just fine.
I run the XFCE version, which I like, and I make it very simplistic layout. You can customize it almost looks like an old school Windows in a way with my little bar with my shortcuts and stuff, my custom shortcuts. So I like that. So I customize it heavily, and I know I can copy those customizations to another install because I have it on laptops and everything. So that way the machine basically is almost identical with software packages and files and stuff. And so I just don't like switching distros and having to redo everything all over again.
No. Or when you switch distros, you can take your config files, but like if you switch from Manjaro to Debian, for example, they're not going to be on the same version of software. Is the only thing. Some of those configs just won't work because Debian will be on older versions.
And and probably the heaviest thing I do is I do photography. So I use like Darktable, some GIMP. And usually that's not a big deal because usually the latest packages are available on each distro.
Well, what you could do, you could still copy all your configs to something like Debian, and if the configs are broken because the packages are a little older, you could always install something like a Snap or a Flatpak to get the latest version, and then your config should your old config that worked on Arch should work on those.
Again, yeah. Hardest part is moving settings.
It's funny. What I think is funny is that people are considering Manjaro as rolling release.
Oh, it's not
concerned.
It's a semi-rolling.
Technically,
It's a semi-rolling release. Yeah.
By definition of whether it is rolling or not, it is rolling release.
Well, by its very definition, but it holds back packages.
Yeah, it holds back for 2 weeks, but that's not very long.
Yeah, it holds back. It doesn't matter. It matters if it has actual releases, like set point releases, like Ubuntu, like Fedora. It doesn't really have that, so therefore it's not it's a rolling release.
But I have to credit.
What Arch does is insane.
Yeah, and I have to credit Philip Mueller or Philip M from Manjaro because he does help the community whenever he can. He's a very good person, especially when it came to Grub. They just released a major upgrade to Grub to 2.12 stable. He helped the community, not me, the community with a hook in place that is compatible with BIOS and UEFI systems, so it doesn't break anymore. So yeah, he's a good person. There are good people in the Arch community and the maintainer circle, but not all of them are great. So
I was waiting. I knew something. He was about to qualify it.
Yeah, where is it coming from? Where's this one coming from?
When he said there are some, you notice he didn't say they were all. He said there's some.
Oh,
there are some. Yeah, like Philip. He's a good person. I haven't met anybody else who's as willing to give away stuff, but so far Philip has helped the community with a lot of things. That's why some people see Manjaro as maybe a potential distro to use, but I'm going to switch to Fedora as my daily driver. That's for sure. That's for sure.
So Fedora is the one that won you over, huh?
Yeah, I'll tell you why. Because DNF5.
I was going to say, what was it?
DNF5, right?
DNF5. DNF5 being as quick as it is, and I'm not switching from KDE. That will never happen. So, but KDE on Fedora works much better than KDE on Arch, because KDE on Arch, due to dependencies, not due to KDE itself, due to the people who maintain packages on the Arch repositories, I'm starting to get fed up with the dependency hell. On Fedora, no such thing. On Fedora, everything is controlled. Everything is vetted before they push upstream.
As somebody that spent most of my time running stable distributions, not rolling release distributions over the years, there is dependency hell on the stable distributions, because eventually, trust me, you're going to compile your own program. There are going to be some things you want that are not there. And once you get into that, you're going to get into this weird dependency hell loop on occasion.
But well, that's where Flatpak and
exactly.
Well, yes, exactly. Yeah, that's where you can. Well, assuming, but not everything's going to have a Flatpak, for example. Yeah, sometimes you do have to.
Yeah.
Then there's DistroBox. Yeah.
DistroBox, exactly.
DistroBox is a solid answer if you're looking for that, because I mean, you could just simply export it and be good with it. You know, and
that's why I said. That's exactly why I said Fedora, because if I need something that's not available, well, easy. Spin up an Arch DistroBox or Docker container, and you're good.
Ironically, it seems that that's the best way to actually stabilize Arch, is to use DistroBox and Flatpaks on Arch.
Yep.
And just stay out of the repositories.
And for someone who has over 180, close to 200 Flatpaks on my system, I rely on Flatpaks more than I rely on Arch packages these days because of all the dependency.
Well, you could always install the Nix package manager or the Geeks package manager on Arch. Like, you don't even have to use Pac-Man, right? I mean, you can install. And the Swedish Linux, he's raising his hand. I forgot that Zoom had
interesting that they're telling that Fedora is the thing. I'm actually switching from Fedora back to OpenSUSE because Fedora now sometimes push too much and breaks packages. Actually,
I heard the only bad thing I heard about Fedora is when it comes to NVIDIA drivers.
Yeah, but for example, problem I had
that's
with
everybody
Fedora,
with NVIDIA drivers.
It was not only NVIDIA drivers, but for example, it was incompatible with Darktable. When Darktable push up a new edition, I suddenly lose my library. And it has this kind of small problems with software, but sometimes the developers push newer software and Fedora push even newer, and then you have a crash log on it. And that's why I switched back to OpenSUSE, because Fedora nowadays don't do as much thorough checking than they did before. They are pushing more and more.
I have to disagree.
I don't know. I cannot disagree or agree because I haven't used Fedora in ages.
Oh shit, DT's in space.
I imagine the Fedora problem with NVIDIA probably has more to do with them defaulting to Wayland for things like GNOME and KDE.
Not even that. Reason Fedora has so many problems with NVIDIA is two words, really one word: law. Fedora has to comply with laws to the utmost degree, because otherwise they could very well get sued.
Especially when it comes to the codec.
Project won't get, because who are you gonna sue? That's why Fedora has so many problems, because they do not do anything to make it easy, because they can't, because otherwise they could have legal problems.
Right, because real corporations like Red Hat, IBM, Canonical, SUSE, they've got real people to sue, where a community distro like
it's not
Arch, I mean, who are you going to sue? Buttnut8852 from the Arch forums or whatever his username is.
but even
good luck finding that guy.
But even the major distros still have disclaimers of warranty, saying that there's no warranty when using the software.
Yeah, especially like, if you go to the Nobara website and you just try to download Nobara, you get flashed with a end user license or end user agreement, sorta. He tells you, you're downloading a community built distro, no support will be provided, don't expect it, you just run it, you break it, you're on your own.
That's basic cover your ass thing.
Yeah, it is. But if you're not, because if you're not paying for it, you have less claim. If it's just out there,
you have just as much claim. You have if there is no warranty, depending on your country's laws, depending on the laws of the country.
That's a different story.
There could still be quite a bit of warranty to be had, and that's the big issue here. Because
as long as let's say
that it deletes all your files just in the middle of
Windows
running, or
that's the Microsoft EULA. We're not responsible for what happens, right?
Destroy something in your computer because it did something wrong.
If people die because this computer, goes haywire or whatever, you can't hold us responsible, basically.
Even if it's just a piece of hardware. Doesn't matter. You cannot put a single person onto court, or just give them legal trouble, and then just basic cover your ass.
At the end of the day, it's still just a product. You know,
Yeah.
it's a
Yeah,
product,
exactly.
not a service. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I
but
was I was doing the same thing when I first came up with Zero Linux, but I got yelled at and screamed at and whatever. That's why I opened up my Discord server. And after opening up my Discord server, like a week ago, I left it and I transferred ownership. I was like, I'm done with Discord.
What?
Yeah.
Welcome to the club.
What the hell?
I'm no longer part of my own community because I am doing the cover my ass sort of thing without putting a cover my ass EULA in front of the users. I'm doing it behind the scenes. I'm sticking to the forums, and I know for a fact, because think about it, when Plasma 6 lands, there's a lot of shit that's gonna happen due to Arch being Arch. So I'm running away from that. So, and I know for a fact that not a lot of people are going to take the time to register on the forums, to post issues and whatever. They're going to be forced to figure things out on their own. So I'm covering my ass
Welcome
that way.
to Linux.
Yeah, and honestly, web forums are a better place to post
Yeah.
things like bug reports and things like that because it's much more searchable. It's, you know, Google friendly for, you know, or a chat platform like Discord. It's just completely the wrong place for posting stuff like that.
Exactly. So I'm taking the safe approach now. I learned from my own mistake.
You transferred ownership of your server and left. I would nuke the server.
No, I did the same thing with my Matrix channel because, you know, I got rid of my Discord server because I was the creator, the owner. I just deleted the dang thing. There's a Matrix server out there, a DistroTube server. It's been up and running for probably 3 years. Yeah, there's a guy, I made the admin. I don't know who he is, what he does. They've been running that thing. I don't know what goes on there. Exactly. I don't want to know what goes on there. I never check it out. Hey, whatever you guys are doing, hey, you're in charge. I don't want to hear about it.
Exactly what I'm doing now. But the person I transferred ownership to is my friend Gamer King. He's Lebanese. He lives not far away from me. So I transferred ownership to him because when I mentioned that I was going to delete the server, everybody went up in arms. I had almost 1,000 users on there. They're not active, but they're there to read whatever happens. So I'm like, I'm not going to kill it. Killing it is harsh. So for those who prefer Discord, it will remain. But for me to directly interact with the users, I'm going to be on my forums. So this is the best way. It's searchable and it's easy to find things. It's easy for me to post things. And I already covered my ass when it comes to Plasma 6. I said, if your system breaks after the Plasma 6 lands, here's how you report bugs upstream to Plasma. Don't come to me.
Yeah, so, I think you posted that also in mine in the distro section, right?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, the Plasma guys are going to love you sending all that traffic their way.
Yeah, they're going to love me because that's what they want. This is how they fix issues.
That's what you get for playing the game, right?
Yeah.
So
but you see, another thing I had with Fedora was the graphic. 6K monitors on Fedora is living hell. Trust me, I had it.
Well, I am still on 1440. I'm still on 1440p. Let me cross the road to 4K.
Holy crap! Monitor and make them to work together on Fedora. I rather kill myself. So, but on OpenSUSE, no issue at all. Just plug it in, everything works.
I have a somewhat similar. I use 3 4K monitors, and I've experienced issues with Fedora. In fact, I keep going back to OpenSUSE, and I use Tumbleweed as a production. It actually works. I don't do anything too crazy, so I don't have many issues. But and the problem that I had with because I'm a huge Budgie fan. I love that desktop environment. I use that. I prefer that, but I'll use KDE if I have to. And then my guilty pleasure is Enlightenment. but the
which just had a new release. Enlightenment.
It did. Yeah. And
26.
But the thing that I mean, when Budgie came out, I like to call it Fudgy. But Spin came out. I thought I was going to be great, and then but the biggest problem that I had there was this. There's no fractional scaling, because for it to be 150% on a 4K monitor is like chef's kiss. And
here's the thing.
Fractional scaling.
Sorry to cut you off, but speaking of fractional scaling, I noticed that Plasma, when you select the Wayland session on a 1440p and upwards monitors, the default scaling is at 150.
Yeah, so that actually, there's something good there, but like Budgie and some of the other desktop environments.
But those are community kind of spins, aren't they? The Budgie.
Yeah. But it goes from but it's the desktop environment itself. Even if I was using Solus or whatever, it goes from 100 to 200.
Well, I was just making the point that Fedora, the Fedora team doesn't really put any extra effort into making that thing.
Okay, guys. So basically, you're trying to convince me to go for Tumbleweed.
Yes.
Well,
if you're going to do
let me say something.
Tumbleweed.
Let me say something here, because I'm going to clear this up, because having been a desktop Linux user for so long, Fedora has never really been a good distribution for just normal desktop computer users. It's never been something anybody ever recommended until here, for whatever reason, in the last 2 or 3 years, you started seeing a lot of people on YouTube and other places on the internet start telling people, go use Fedora, switch to Fedora. Fedora is great. And Fedora is still the same Fedora it was all them years ago when nobody recommended it. It hasn't changed. So it's kind of weird. I think some of these people are, maybe Red Hat fanboys, GNOME fanboys, Wayland fanboys. And of course, Fedora is pushing all of that. So if you're into all of that kind of technology, maybe you're a fan of it and you would like other people to join. But should you get normal people that maybe are not tech savvy, like your mother, your grandmother, things like people like that, would you want them on a distribution like Fedora? No, Fedora would be one of the last ones. Fedora would be next to last, right before Arch, of a distribution I would put like a new Linux user on. OpenSUSE is way something different. OpenSUSE is like Ubuntu, right? They try to have everything set up just working, right? So if you want to try a RPM distro, OpenSUSE is the one to.
When it comes to NVIDIA drivers, everybody tells me OpenSUSE is the next best thing next to Pop OS.
I would say, as somebody who has gone around different distros and has used NVIDIA for years, I would agree, because the biggest, I would almost basically reformat and install another distro when it came time to install the NVIDIA drivers, because it was such a hassle trying to install it.
Especially when it comes to hybrid graphics.
Yeah, I mean, why is it so much easier on other distros like Ubuntu or or OpenSUSE? It's so easy to install the NVIDIA drivers.
Hybrid.
Why?
It's easy because they have agreements with NVIDIA, not because of some other thing. Because they have agreements in NVIDIA, so they can actually do all that stuff for you.
I was about to say that's probably some of the corporations involved, right? With
it could be. Yeah,
all corporations, so they have agreements with
because Ubuntu and OpenSUSE, they obviously they've got large corporations backing them. Right.
And SUSE definitely have agreements with NVIDIA. They can
not only a corporation, actually in Germany, OpenSUSE have some amount from the government as well, financially supporting at least the server version. I don't know if it's some way falling over to Tumbleweed, but I know that the government in some states of Germany, they're using OpenSUSE.
They're using SUSE servers, so they're probably donating money to them. Would make sense.
They're using OpenSUSE for administration as well. And I know the schools are going over as well to some hybrid version of OpenSUSE. But what's the point with OpenSUSE? That they're from ground up, working with multiple monitors of different resolution. For example, I have 6K and a 4K. None other distro, except it's a tweaked Debian, works perfectly.
Of course,
that's why
that's a horrible
and I have an
horrible
AMD
thing.
card, not NVIDIA even. No
That
distro
doesn't
working
matter.
out of the box.
What card you have doesn't matter. What matters is you have a very, very, very horrible set of resolutions. 4K is okay. That's 6K. That's not gonna fly anywhere because that's a really weird resolution.
No, it flies on OpenSUSE perfectly well, but no other distro manage it.
Core dump.
Yeah, Linux Warrior in the chat, the same guy that complained about all the other distros that are not Arch being buggy. He complained about Ubuntu. He complained about Fedora. He said OpenSUSE also is buggy as hell. No offense. So pretty much everything that's not Arch is buggy.
I just asked him if he's using Tumbleweed or Leap.
Yeah,
I'm gonna tell you right now,
because Tumbleweed is a lot better than Leap.
Any distro I tried, I had problems with. That's why
you have to choose your problems that you want to deal with.
That's why I removed the idea of problems entirely and just went with a immutable system.
I was about to say you went back to Windows. Is that what you were about to say?
That's how I remove all my problems. I don't have to deal with 90% of the problems.
You know what? I'm done. I'm buying a MacBook.
Packages. This is the main problem.
Zany did that for like 2 weeks. Screw Linux, this, that, and other. Went back to
I'm just going to go Mac. Buying a MacBook, buddy.
Yeah, that's right. He did buy a Mac. He did both.
Lasted about a week.
Yeah.
Or you have a death wish.
Yeah.
I'm not in that. I'm not in IT,
go ahead, George.
but I'm not in IT, but as somebody who's used Linux off and on for over 20 years, I started with Mandrake. That tells you how long it's been. I have to say, Linux is one of those things where I just can't quit you.
Once you've been using it long enough, it's hard.
It's hard to go back to anything else because you're already used to everything that's coming at you. You know.
Well, it's just hard to go back to the more locked down proprietary operating systems like Windows and especially Mac, because there's going to be some things you're used to. You're used to being able to customize everything, break things, put things back together, and they just don't let you do that the way that Linux does.
It's true. DistroTube, don't lie. It's all about the spying. Tell the truth. Come on.
Spying?
Come on.
What are you talking about spying? Every time I
spy on Linux.
Every time I mention that Microsoft or Apple are spying on their user, especially the mobile operating systems like on the iPhone, I always get people, you have no proof of that. Okay. I'm sure Apple is not monitoring everything you do on their phones. You're right. Steve, jump in.
Yeah. Well, that is true. That is true. Apple.
Steve worked at Apple, by the way, guys.
Yeah, don't remind me. When they took us into that bunker, removing our watches and our phones, telling us, "You betcha everything you read is true about us spying on people." But hey, we got the power to make you disappear if you mention that to anyone.
By the way, just last night, I started my Wayland journey, like I told Alex last night when I was in the call with him.
Yeah.
GNOME on Wayland has been one of the best experiences for me. It's taken a bit of learning, but I managed to get OBS working, and I must say I am absolutely enjoying it. And I think once I get used to Wayland with GNOME, I think the next part of my Wayland experience is going to be on KDE Plasma.
KDE Plasma.
KDE Plasma is better. KDE Plasma is better on Wayland when it comes to gaming. If you game, you have to go Plasma because they got the necessary stuff implemented.
The portals and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas GNOME, they still refuse, not ignore. They refuse. Plain and simple, they refuse to implement the what's it called? something related to gaming and Wayland. And Valve requires that in order to, or Proton requires that for you to be able to play on Linux. They refuse it.
I gotta say, I tried on my Hyperlink to run Steam, and it was holy crap. I think
not a good experience,
bro. No, man. Let me tell you, Linux fam. I'm gonna tell you right now, man. My screens did some weird crap. They became possessed, bro.
Well,
like they were strobing. I swear, I thought I was in the club dropping bottles, baby. I mean, there was some crap going on, man. I'm like, what is going on, man?
Well, Ricky's experience with GNOME, though. I mean, GNOME is the Wayland experience right now. Like if for whatever reason you want to use Wayland, you got to use Wayland. You probably should be running GNOME. Unfortunately, you'd also have to run GNOME, which if you're not a GNOME fanboy, that's
so what I did is before the Christmas special I had to install the KDE desktop, right? Because I was having issues. So I went into KDE because I remember reading somewhere that it's better to game on KDE with Wayland, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I launched up my Steam and I played for 3 hours, I think, with Tyler and Hipdad last night. Something Zero. It's a new game that came out there. Generation Zero. Yeah, Generation Zero. Yeah, I played Generation Zero with them last night, dude, and it was flawless. It was really good.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
It was amazing.
Yeah, and I was corrected in the chat by Zavonimir. He says, what Apple's doing, that's not spying. They use that data to improve things.
That's right. That's right.
Don't get me
That's
started.
right. They even spell it out.
I'm pretty sure that was a joke, guys. He was joking. So don't jump on him.
I can tell you this. I worked at Microsoft for a short period of time as a network.
Oh, good.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, that was my biggest mistake. But I can tell you, both Microsoft and Apple, Google, and of course iPhone, they know every single detail. But if they tell you, "Oh, we take the anonymous on you, so we don't know where you are," it's bullshit.
Hey, Google.
I show you evidence of it. On Apple and on Microsoft, I've got programs uninstalled by both Apple and Microsoft, and they say they don't know who I am. So how can you uninstall my programs and lock my license until I could give them evidence if they don't know who I am? I can tell you, that is the century's biggest lie. They know every single click you do if they need it. And I can tell you where they got it from. Homeland Security has ordered Microsoft and Apple to have a backdoor in.
Yeah,
so
that happened years ago.
They can get in.
Yeah,
they're monitoring all the big social media networks. Meta's already given them all their data.
Yeah, that's all.
There's nothing new.
That's nothing new.
We all know that for many years. And reality,
so nobody can tell me they don't do it.
If they actually wanted to, like U.S. government or any other government, to see what we're doing on Linux, they could just as easily do it. It would take them a bit more, but not a lot more.
I'm a firm
computers,
believer in
they're kind of shit.
Yeah, I'm a firm believer in the statement: if man made it, man can break it some way, somehow.
Yeah. Yep. Well, to be fair, Google and Apple, the phone manufacturers, the reason they're just going to go ahead and let the government have that information anyway is so they don't have this public embarrassment of to where the government subpoenas them. Hey, you need to unlock this guy's phone. No, we're not going to do that for privacy reasons. We'd never do that. Well, if you give them the back door, that I don't have to even be a part of that anymore.
Yeah.
Look, I'm going to tell you right now, the only way you can be secure and private on the internet is not
don't be on it. Yeah,
exactly.
Don't be on it.
Exactly.
You know that cable that connects it to your switch modem router, pull it out. That's the only way you can be in any way secure private on internet. And better yet, if you want to be secure and private, grab your computer, throw it out of the window.
No, you can still have computers. You can still even have networks. It just needs to be your typical LAN party. Everybody gets together and play some Xenotic on a LAN party.
Ray,
Did that the other night too.
Ray, do you have Wi-Fi on your computer or your phone or your tablet or your laptop?
Well, you know, your laptops are all going to have Wi-Fi. Yeah.
All I need to do is drive by your house and force your laptop to connect to my laptop, and I have your entire laptop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I have cable instead with 2 VPN servers between my router and my computer. So it's impossible to track
those
my
VPNs
server,
do nothing
but
for
not the
you.
computer.
Those VPNs do nothing for you.
Well, even if you're not connecting, I mean, just when you're scanning 4 devices to connect to, I mean, that at least gives away some information.
Yep.
Even your phone, you know, obviously from the phone towers pinging cell towers, they know exactly your location at least, you know.
The minute that it does its handshake, you're hit.
Exactly.
Oh, by the way, DT, I spotted a little bit of Linux news last night. Gentoo ends out 2023 by offering up binary packages for direct installation.
I saw that. It's been something that has, I mean, for a long time, Gentoo has offered binary packages for really big programs like your browsers and LibreOffice and things that take hours and hours to compile. Yeah. But I mean, I would say if they want normal people to use it, you need binary packages. But at the same time, Gentoo was never designed for normal people either. So it kind of defeats the purpose to have that as well. So I don't know exactly how I feel about that.
If you say Gentoo one more time, Josh will show up.
Oh, Jesus Christ. He showed up last night.
Oh, did he? Nice.
Yeah, he showed up last night on my live.
I'm on his Discord. I have to check in every so often. I don't do that enough.
I can tell you, though, I have never, well, I won't say never, but having done it once or twice, I will never, ever compile another web browser. Ever.
No.
Oh my gosh.
Just won't do it. No, I'm not waiting 8 hours for Chromium or Firefox or whatever to compile. Not doing it.
Buy a nicer computer instead.
Go ahead.
Buy a nicer computer or big A from IBM. Then
my computer is actually pretty nice. That's the thing. Yeah. I'm not running a potato.
Well, you guys are
if I was running a potato, I mean, it can take, seriously, on underpowered machines, you can wait 2, maybe 3 days for Gentoo to fully compile.
Yeah,
like that laptop, that test laptop behind me, that's blurred out. But that's an old Lenovo ThinkPad from like 10 years ago. It would seriously take me probably at least 2 days to compile Gentoo on that.
Well, you guys are talking in the presence of a guy who maintains 300 packages on his repository.
Oh, Steve.
Yeah, but you're not compiling browsers.
I am.
You're compiling. What browser are you maintaining?
If I mention it, you're gonna.
Yeah, because I'm about to laugh. Go ahead. Is it a proprietary? Is it Microsoft Edge?
No.
Okay.
It's Libre. It's Libre Wolf.
No, that should be in the repos.
It's got to be Vivaldi. He's a Vivaldi fanboy.
And that's not as bad as MS Edge.
No. That exists as a binary on the AUR.
Google Chrome.
Close. Ungoogled Chromium.
Oh, okay. Well, that's not proprietary. I was saying it was a proprietary browser. That's why it wasn't in the repos.
No, but you
Ungoogled Chromium is in the AUR, but yeah,
Hola, Linux Criollo.
Is there not a Ungoogled Chromium -bin in the AUR?
There is a -bin, but I compile from source.
Oh God!
Because the -bin hasn't been updated in a while. So I'd rather take the latest security patches over an outdated file any day.
So you have a web server somewhere that its only job is to compile Chromium every week.
No, it's on my PC, and without. You remember, I don't have electricity like the rest of the world, so I do it when I know there is electricity, and it takes me approximately 4.5 hours to compile that thing every time.
No. I'm just shaking my head here like, God help Steve.
I'm saying.
I was compiling as well Thorium before all the controversy happened. I stopped compiling that from source.
You know what? I thought that was funny because I think on it may have been the last patrons chat. I had somebody, I think in the YouTube chat, ask me about thorium, and I mentioned to you guys, I never check out like the latest and like new things that come out that people get excited about, because a lot of times, 9 times out of 10, they won't be around in 6 months.
Yeah.
And I don't want to get people's hopes up or recommend things that are not quite what they seem. And, you know, that was a month ago. 30 days ago, right? And now it's gone. That's why I don't do videos on stuff like that, you know, on something that's...
Tech made a video, an apology video, saying, I'm sorry for having recommended thorium and
Well, I've
my browser.
I've had things like that before where I check on things and then they disappear within, you know, just a few weeks or a few months. And, you know, having been burned a couple of times myself on that's why I don't do that. If something's got some staying power, you know, if thorium was around, say, a year from now, then I might take a look at it because I know it has a little bit of history. It saw more than one release, right? So that's why a lot of times I don't take a look at distributions that just put out their very first ISO. Because that happens a lot with Linux distribution. That very first ISO is often the only ISO that ever gets put out.
Once you start living the life of a real maintainer.
You see, this is why I don't like doing distro reviews, guys, because, I mean, you know, I'm afraid that my opinion's going to piss people off.
Exactly.
No, it's always going to piss people off. That's the point of an opinion.
Yeah, exactly. I learned that one a long time ago, man.
But here's the downside. If you try to make content, here's the downside though. If you try to make content where you never share your opinion on anything, you're also not really saying anything. And then people get pissed off at that, or they just don't watch it because people want your opinion. So they can get mad. So go ahead and give it to them, Ben. That's what they want. Right?
That's what that's why they watch.
Yes, exactly.
Hey, some people will hate watch. You know, just like they will. You know, they'll eat something they hate.
Right. I like that. They hate watch. Like they hate a certain sports team, so they watch every game. I want to see them lose.
Well, you know, it's funny because I've said that before. I've said that to a couple of other content creators that, you know, even though they hate it, it all still equals great for you because it's all clicks and views. You know?
Yeah, just never take anything personally. There's nothing personal about it.
Exactly.
I actually got asked by somebody why I never say negative things about distros.
Oh yeah, you're gonna get that a lot. But
you're gonna get that a lot. Yeah.
Well, I will critique distros when they deserve it, but what I won't do is I won't even make a video, even if I already turned on the camera and started making the video. Once I realize a distribution is completely broken and buggy, I usually won't put that on camera. If I know it's going to be something that is going to be very embarrassing to somebody, I just won't do it.
Yeah,
that's a good policy.
Since I'm in the presence of content creators here, I wanted to ask you a question about that. Since I will be coming back on YouTube next year, I don't know when, but next year, January or February. But I want to ask you this: what do you think about this type of content? When I'm going to create an intro video for the channel, letting people know about this idea if it comes true. But the idea is Mondays tutorials, Wednesdays live, and Fridays app of the week.
That's a good idea.
So wait, you're doing what? You're saying 3 days a week?
3 days a week, yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, whatever you do is fine, but you know the algorithm.
No, instead of talking about distros and check out this distro, check out that distro, I'm not going to be talking about distros. I'm not going to be talking about my own distro either.
Right.
I'm moving away from that. I'm just going to say Monday is tutorial week, a tutorial day. You're going to get various guides and tips and tricks and so on. Wednesdays is going to be live, just me talking to chat, and for whoever, for members only, for the channel members only, they can jump in whenever they want. And the Friday video is going to be app of the week, and at the end of the month, I gather up all the apps, the 3 apps or the 4 apps that we talk about during the month, and we're gonna, because each month is going to have a subject. Like we're going to talk about media applications or broadcasting applications. And during that month, at the end of the month, I'm going to gather all the media applications we talked about and select one to be the winner of the month.
Well, I would be careful. It's fine to do different kind of topics, to keep things interesting. But as far as different kinds of formats, don't be surprised when not nearly as many people watch those very long live streams as those 10-minute tutorial videos you put out. Right, you'll get a lot more views on that kind of stuff. So.
No, the lives are going to have a subject every week. It's not going to be the same subject.
But still, it's not the subject, it's the length. They're just not going to do as good.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm not counting on the lives. I'm just doing the lives to communicate with chat. I'm not doing it. So once the live show is over, I forget about that video. I don't count on that video. What I count on is the Monday and Friday videos.
Yeah, but they're going to hurt. You're going to hurt your channel overall just because of the way analytics work and the way.
Analytics.
I would just ditch the lives altogether. Maybe do one a month, but trying to do one a week it's not going to work out for you.
So actually, in the way that the YouTube algorithm works with analytics, what they want you to do is a short and a video a day. That will get you the most consistent views. And the shorts actually help you get views if you use them to tease your videos. Yes. And then where lives help you out the most is they actually will bring in revenue, because that gives people the opportunity to super chat you and join channels. So that's why you don't want to do.
Will watch will have highest viewer attention, which is at the end of the day what YouTube algorithm want.
Yeah, exactly.
And honestly, the
attention on platform.
Honestly, the super chat revenue from a live stream, while that's nice, you get a little bit of money up front. Nobody's ever going to go back and watch the stream afterwards, where like a tutorial has its evergreen content that a year from now, 5 years from now, maybe even 10 years from now, people will still watch it if it's relevant, or you'll still be getting AdSense revenue from something like that. So you'll make more money in the long run on that kind of content than you ever will on.
Depending on what kind of viewers they are, you can make way more money on longer form content that less people view.
Yeah, that's really funny because you mentioned that
probably not on Linux live content though.
Actually, I get more people. I get more people that go back and watch my lives after they end than they do when they're live.
The kind of people. There probably needs to be a much more cultish kind of topic for that though.
No, it needs to be it cannot be this. It cannot be this talk with the chat. It cannot be talk with the channel talk.
No, they gotta be topic specific. Like the ones I do. People actually go back and watch them more than they watch them live.
Yeah.
Well, one of the reasons why this kind of chat doesn't get many views, it's not just the length. The length is part of the problem. Most people prefer to watch something shorter, but also the people that are subscribed to my channel are subscribed to watch me, right? They're not subscribed to watch you guys. So that's part of the problem too, is a lot of people, especially some of the ones that just discovered my channel, just subscribed, they're going to want to come hear what DT has to say. And I'm not going to say much in the stream. Because obviously this is for you guys, right? Let you guys have a conversation. I mean, I'll take part of it, but some people get disappointed in that, and that's part of the reason they don't hang around and watch this content. So that's why I was letting Steve know, because I think that was what he was thinking about doing. That's not going to be great if he's trying to get subscribers and views and actually make his channel. Don't do this kind of content that often. It's okay if you do it every now and then, 1, maybe 2 a month. But doing it on a regular basis is harmful.
I was thinking because the video a day will give him lots of subscribers.
I cannot do that many videos, so because there's editing that goes into place, and I need to take advantage of the limited amount of time I have power. And
I mean, lives don't require any editing. That's why.
Exactly.
Why we do them, right?
But here's the thing: I'm going to listen to you. I was thinking maybe I make it like a podcast kind of thing, but just me. But it's not going to work. But here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take your advice. I'm gonna make one at the end of. I might take your idea of a patron cast, like all the members who all the YouTube members, or the people who donate or whatever. I might create a new tier. They can take part in a one time a month video that I do. It's not going to be called a patron cast. I'm just going to call it something else because you already used that. But
Okay.
I might.
It's not a very unique name, right?
Yeah, but I want to call it something else.
It's not trademarked. You're free to use it.
But I'm gonna call it the monthly meetup or something, and they can
I like
take
that.
part into.
That's much more creative. I'm in OBS right now. Let me change chat with patrons to monthly meetup.
I'm gonna give you an advice.
That's awesome.
That is, that is completely basic. None of that doesn't matter if you're not consistent.
No, exactly. I want to try my best to be consistent. Yeah.
Even if you cannot do 3 videos a week, that shouldn't matter. You can do 2, you can do 1. It really doesn't matter as long as you are consistent about
consistency.
Yep. That.
Yeah, I'm gonna try my hand at 1 video a week at the beginning, and then if I see that I can.
He changed it to monthly meetup.
But Steve, I would strongly recommend aiming for 1 or maybe 2 videos a week before trying to commit to anything more than that.
When I first
because
started,
once you get to 3 videos or more a week, it really requires a lot of dedication. And don't be surprised if you have other things going on in life. You just don't have time for it. So start with a smaller number, and if you've got more time, you can add.
I made the mistake when I started. I started at 3 a week, man. Holy crap, that was a grind. And I did that.
And depending on how much editing and stuff goes in.
Yeah.
Because some people do a lot more fancy editing and stuff, and don't be surprised if some of these videos you make that are only 10, 15 minutes in length take 4 hours, 6 hours, 8 hours, sometimes even to edit. And then you just don't have time. You can't make 3, 4, 5 of those a week unless you just have not much else going on in life.
Yeah, and I want to try to mix it up. First week is going to be a guide. The next week is going to be a what do you call it, app of the week, and the week after that we go back to guides, and then switch it up like that. 1 week it's a guide, another week it's an app of the week, and switch them up, and 1 live a month.
Well, I can tell you the kinds of things that people get excited about. You need to be new user trying out Emacs for the first time. That should be your first video. Everybody's gonna.
Yeah. No.
Be
classic and do a Gentoo install with KD.
Yeah, Gentoo live stream. Ricky, jump in. You've got your hand up. Hold on just a second, Ricky.
Basically how my YouTube schedule works, it pretty much works like this. Tuesdays and Thursdays, I upload 2 videos on both of those days. And as for my live streams, I basically schedule them on days that I have available time to do them. Saturday and Sundays are my recording days for my Odyssey gaming channel. I do have a gaming channel now on Odyssey. So if you want to check that out, you can just look up MLB11X and C22. Right now I'm doing a playthrough of Doom 3 on there, just shooting demons with shotguns and stuff. But basically, how my YouTube schedule works is what I just told you. It's very simple. Tuesdays and Thursdays I record, and when I do recording, I do raw footage 100% at a time. I don't edit whatsoever. If I make a blunder or a mishap, oh well, you are going to see the blunder or mishap anyway.
No. You're basically treating your recordings like live sessions.
Exactly. That's how I've done it for many years now.
Oh, okay.
But Steve, try Try
couldn't do
things that
that.
you normally wouldn't try on camera just for the giggles. People love to see people fail. Also, people for engagement. People love controversial opinions. So if you got a lot of controversial opinions on things like, for example, the GNOME desktop environment,
Oh my
go
God.
ahead and let people know about that, Steve.
And make sure you call it gnome when you do it.
Yeah. Make sure the thumbnail is something completely ridiculous.
Yeah, that's because I gotta go real soon. 10 minutes, and I gotta leave. But I will begin on Wednesdays. Every Wednesday there's a video, and then I will see how it goes. It gives, because I have a health problem when it comes to editing. When I start editing a video that takes longer than 2 hours, I get a severe anxiety attack, and I can't breathe. This is a health problem I've been suffering from since I was a kid, and I took medication and I took all that, didn't work. So when I do something for very long periods of time, like even working on my distro, the reason I do it is because I don't need to concentrate and do it in one go. I just do one thing and go have a coffee and whatever. But for editing, if I don't do it in one go, I'm gonna leave a lot of blunders in there. So,
I found too that when I'm editing long videos, 'cause, a lot of the videos I'll do, especially some of the more tutorial heavy things, require a lot more cutting and editing, and if they take longer than a couple of hours.
And I would say
I can't get up and like come back later and finish the editing. Like some people, well, I'm at this spot, I'll save it and come back. I'll forget what I was doing, what I was, where I was even at. What your train of thought was even. Same thing with recording. If I'm recording something that's a very lengthy video, because I've had some videos that I've recorded, like pre-recorded content that took me a few hours of recording time, just because of whatever the subject was. Maybe it was something really complicated, and I can't stop in the middle of recording and come back and remember even what I'd already recorded. What have I already said? What?
Dude, that happens to me. Like when I pause it and I'll go get something and I'll come back, I'll be like, oh crap,
where the hell was I?
What was I talking about? So
I don't know how
honestly,
well
Steve, my suggestion.
Once I edited something for 2 weeks.
I believe it.
A long
I believe
thing,
it.
and I had to edit it for 2 weeks to get all of it done and all that.
Oh yeah,
If I
that's what
couldn't
I'm afraid of.
actually
What I would do, Steve, to kind of warm yourself up to the editing process and the whole video making process, is do some talking head stuff before you do tutorial stuff. Or if you do tutorial stuff, it's a very small, lightweight tutorial.
Oh yeah. My first tutorial that's good. The first tutorial that's gonna land is how to arch shoot. That's gonna be a 5-minute video.
Do something light.
What I would suggest too is that maybe you do one anchor video a week, and then instead of doing a second one and then the live stream, just do a live stream that you break up into a few shorts or a couple videos.
And that's what I've been doing with my podcast. It's really been helping out too.
Yeah, that's what a lot of the large podcasters do.
I break them up into shorts. Yeah.
Yeah, because like a friend of mine and I will, I'll get on Discord chat, and I might stream some MechWarrior or something like that, and we just start talking about stuff, and MechWarrior just becomes the background.
Oh yeah, speaking of gaming, I'm gonna even do some gaming sessions on my channel, just for the heck of it, for people who join the channel. They become eligible to join me in a gaming session once a month.
That's cool.
Dark Zero, I give you a good advice, because I was in the same situation recently. If you start editing, try to find a software that it's easy to edit.
Kdenlive Live is easy for me. Kdenlive Live is easy for me.
Okay, then use that, because sometimes people use software that is maybe way too advanced, and that will give them extra hours of work because that they need to figure out. That's why I have Filmora, for example, on Windows, doing it, because it's
the good thing with Steve and Kdenlive is
Premiere Pro, because that's what I used in
Caden Live.
that month that I was actually editor for a job. So
Caden Live with this thing right here is like this has made a difference in Caden Live using a trackball in it, dude. Yeah.
Oh, Kuya,
Convinced me in the Christmas special, man.
Kuya. Now we are 3 using the same exact trackball mouse. First it was me, then it was Josh, and now it's you.
Oh crap.
Yeah, he's got one of the Kensingtons.
Yeah, he's got a Kensington.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, he's got a Kensington, and you have a Logi trackball too, Kuya.
Yes.
Who, me?
You have the MX Ergo, the 275, whatever it's called.
No, this is the M575.
Not
the MX. Use 575.
MX Ergo. It's called the MX Ergo.
Yeah. I know what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, you have the same one as me. I bought mine back in 2016.
Well, I'm gonna tell you, man. Editing in Caden Live with it has
welcome to the club, baby. Welcome to the club.
Has become a breeze.
I've had it for so many years. This is the best trackball mouse ever.
And I almost hate to almost admit this because I don't want to seem like I'm flexing, but I'm going to flex. But I edit my videos when I start to finish on them, and I don't probably go as in depth as some people do. But when I edit my videos, I actually can edit a video in about 45 minutes.
Well,
no.
But it's also because of the way another key thing, if you really want to do this and save yourself some time, is learn to set up your scenes in OBS. So when you make your transitions, you don't have to cut in like your intro. You don't have to cut in all that stuff. It's just a matter of transition from scene to scene.
I'm not going to have an intro because I talked to Zany earlier in the week, and he was like, dude, the people come to see your content. They don't want anything to distract them. Like you say hello, and then you have an intro that breaks their attention. You have an animation. Don't do that. Just continue on. Just say
if you do any kind of intro with any kind of animation, or maybe 3 seconds.
Yeah.
Like anything longer than that, like you see a lot of even big YouTubers have these kind of lengthy intros that last sometimes 10, even 15 seconds. And I know, even though some of these channels are pretty big, they lose a lot of viewers who are wondering when this person's going to get to the content. They've already clicked off and went to the other video being recommended to them in the search results. Yeah, now, if your subscribers may put up with an intro, but people that are just discovering you, don't be surprised if they turn off immediately from an intro.
Just a good flat. Just a good flash intro. And a station ID. That's all you need.
I think I got mine. I think I got mine down to like 5 seconds or something like that.
Yeah, put a logo or a watermark somewhere on the screen for the people that want to rip your content.
You do a little intro and then you drop it.
And that's what I do. That's exactly what I do. I do an intro describing what the video is, where I'm talking about.
My favorite is the ones that start with like the 15-second flashy intro, and then, hey, this is DT. Now let me share with you the sponsor of today's video. Whatever.
Well, you use you got.
It's like don't do that.
Well, you also have to match the energy of your intro, because if you have this, if it builds you up and then you drop in and it's like, hey,
man, I watched
you totally lose it.
I did a search for something, I forget what, it was something tech related that I needed to answer for. And I got the search result I wanted in YouTube, and I clicked on the video. It's a 6-minute video. And he did eventually get to the point and tell me what I needed. But for this 6-minute video, literally the first 2 minutes was the intro, the animation, and then he was plugging his sponsor, some VPN.
Dude, how long was that intro? Holy crap!
That's what because of the ads, or the promos, the sponsorships. Some people, they want to talk at length about go sign up for this and that. And it's like, dude, just give me the command to enter in the terminal. That's just all I want.
If you use FreeTube, you can. If you use FreeTube, you can tell FreeTube.
Oh shit! There goes DT's monetization.
Yeah, you see, this is he's got to learn this. He'll learn it with his own channel.
Yeah, he will.
Once they take him down a couple of times.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got to appeal and then beg them, then promise them, I'll never say it again.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give you.
Aristot also said you need to video edit with Vim key bindings in the mouse. In Caden Live, actually,
they already have
the key bindings, man. It's fantastic.
They already have pretty good bindings, yeah.
Yeah, and he's absolutely correct. Using the key bindings along with the trackballs, like, boom, that's how you fire through it, man.
All right, guys, I gotta hop off of here. I'm gonna wish
Steve, before you go, I have to give you an additional advice. This is what I learned the hard way. Do not be a perfectionist.
Yeah.
No, I'm not. I'm not a perfectionist. No,
the video will never come out if you do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at my YouTube channel. There is one video that came out this year. Today is the other one, because I 50 videos I made. 50 videos I made. Out of them, two are those that I uploaded.
Okay, but I know I'm not a perfectionist. I just threw up a few things, and for the lives I even created. You know what I did? I made a vertical box that is neon quickly on Photopea. I made one, and I will put chat in it for the lives, and that's it. I didn't go overboard. I'm not a perfectionist. But before I go, I want to tell you guys that the bug in QEMU Vert Manager is real. I have built myself 20 ISOs, and they all get stuck at graphical interface. So there's something going on with the back end of Vert Manager QEMU that's not allowing the ISO, any ISO to boot. I tried Fedora, I tried my ISO,
I've had no problem with mine.
Well, just wait for the update, or just update.
Okay.
I received an update today, this morning, for something QEMU. I can boot nothing in it right now. I've been trying all day, so it is real. I've changed nothing, and now every ISO fails. So there is something going on with QEMU Vert Manager. So I'm gonna wait for. I'm gonna use maybe VirtualBox. Oh my God, that's gonna be a pain. But yeah, I'm just confirming that, and I wish everyone here a happy new year, and all the viewers a happy new year. May 2024 be everything you wish it to be, and may everyone's projects come true. And DT, I want to mention that I might slip off as your patron for a while because my debit card expired, and I'm waiting for my Irish landlord back in Ireland to receive my new card and to send it my way.
Yeah.
So I might drop off for a month at least until she said. With that being said, what else did I need to cover?
2024 year of the Linux desktop.
No.
He's
No,
switching to
2024
Windows.
is
Always
gonna
is.
be
What are you
painful.
talking about?
It's going to be more painful. No,
He's switching
2024
to
is,
Windows.
no, 2024 is the year where I switch to a different distro completely as my workhorse. It might as well be Tumbleweed. Who knows? If I can put up with Yast and all the shenanigans. And I'm going to spin up a distro box of Arch, that's for sure. Other than that, peace and long life to everyone. And for the Star Wars, may the Force be with you all. So yeah,
right.
I'm gonna hop off of here. Good luck with the rest of the show. You still have a half an hour. See ya.
Well, Happy New Year. Yeah. Peace.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Everyone. It's going
Happy
to
New
be
Year to
New Year in 4 hours. 4 hours and a half. Yay! Before you guys. I'm going to be in the future.
already
Just
are.
by a couple hours. Huh?
Hours.
I'm about to say Big Pod's right behind you.
All right, in front, 3.5 hours.
Yeah.
You're in front of me. Oh boy. Okay, so he's going to be before me.
All
All right.
Well, I just did
correctly.
Steve, before you go real quick, I just did the update and on Vert Manager, and I just logged into my Enlightenment desktop.
Oh, if it's installed, no. If it's installed already, you're not going to have any issues. If it's try booting a live ISO.
Yeah.
Oh.
So
Okay.
yeah, I can't boot any.
Also,
live
if you
ISO.
just updated, it would require a reboot, wouldn't it? Because
No,
it's
I've
the
rebooted
kernel
since
module.
I've rebooted
Okay.
since I've updated.
Oh,
Yes,
okay.
you're right.
So try a live environment, see if
Yeah, I'm
it's
going
if
to
it's
try
going to
something
boot.
new.
If it does boot for you, I don't know. It could be Arch. It could be something on KDE. I don't know. But
he'll send you an email reminding you, hey, it's just you, man.
Yeah,
it's working for everybody else.
DM me.
I'll DM him in Discord.
Yeah, DM me. I'm still on Discord. I'm just not part of my own server. All right, guys. See ya.
All right.
Peace and love.
Yeah,
Peace.
bye.
Bye.
That was interesting. Ooh.
It always is.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But he never plugs his YouTube channel directly, which he should probably do more.
Yeah.
Well, anybody that searches for Zero Linux will probably get his YouTube channel. Let's see, because I'm actually kind of curious what comes up. Yeah, it does. Zero Linux Official is the first thing that is recommended. So that's good.
I posted a link to in chat here. I posted a link about a short that this lady put together about, like, if you were at a store and someone was to talk to you about Linux. She actually really does a really good job. And actually, that was a recommended video that was kind of just below when I searched for Zero Linux YouTube channel. So it was actually a recommendation.
Yeah, sometimes YouTube doesn't do a good job with the search results. Because so many people have made videos about Zero Linux. I was actually kind of curious if his channel wasn't the first result, but thankfully it was.
One of the videos you did was actually near the top of that search.
Yeah, a lot of times my videos will be at the top of Linux related search, but it actually recommended his channel, like the official channel.
Yeah, that was good.
At least for me.
That's improvement. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I've got actually my video's the second in my search results behind a It's False video about Zero Linux. That's the problem when you're kind of smaller, with anything YouTube or Google search results. Yep. They put a lot more emphasis on bigger sites like It's False, which is, a big news site. So they're going to give them a lot more weighting to something like the Zero Linux official YouTube channel, even though that's probably much more appropriate than a It's False article about Zero Linux.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, Glitch saying, wait, what is going on with QEMU? I'm not really sure, Glitch, because I have not experienced the problem myself, but I haven't really been playing with virtual machines in the last couple of days. There was a recent update to QEMU here in the last just a couple of days because I noticed all the packages updating on Arch. But I don't know what Steve, he was having an issue. So...
Well, apparently, I'm trying to load up ISO.
I wonder if they mention it on the Arch homepage, because a lot of times they'll mention breaking things.
I'm trying to load up an ISO of this really questionable distro called DTOS.
Yeah, I haven't updated it in a while, so I wouldn't recommend.
And so, I mean,
running that. Well, I said to have a lot of updates because the last ISO was more than a month ago, so it would. If you install it, it'd probably have like 600-700 updates that you'd immediately have to take after, and I don't know how any of that would work. I haven't tried it lately.
Well, I'm just trying to see if I can get it to boot up, and I'm still setting it up right now, so I'll let you know in just a few seconds.
There's I went to search for Big Pod's channel because I know I've watched some of the videos that you have, but I had. There's actually a good video. I think he was on Tech Over Tea a few months ago. It says Linux won't save you from bad choices. Yeah. I think I've caught part of that. That's a good video if anybody's interested in some philosophy of Linux. It's actually really good.
The philosophy of Linux.
It's 2 hours long, but it's really good.
Yes, that was an interesting conversation.
Brody's always fun to do interviews with, man. He's always fun.
Linux won't save you from bad choices, Big Pod. What bad choice were you specifically talking about? Was there
are many bad choices in there, but I think the one that he is specifically referencing is my old file structure.
Oh, I know what. Because you had mentioned this before that you had some partitions with NTFS. Is that what? Yes, on Linux, and you're mounting those things.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
and that works.
Yes,
without issue. It used to work. Okay, that's what. I don't qualified
do that anymore.
Okay,
I don't do that anymore because I don't need to. Because I have network storage.
It had nothing to do with the fact that every other file system on Linux is better than NTFS?
It wasn't because of Linux. It was because I was running Linux and Windows in a conjunction on Windows, and I needed files.
But can't Windows read extend 4? Why not just do extend 4?
No.
It can't?
No.
It's never been able to.
No.
I guess there's no chance of it working with ButterFS then.
Definitely not.
Nope.
What about XFS? It's old enough.
No.
Yep.
No. Ironically, I think ButterFS has the most chance, and even that is close to
probably remote yet at this point.
To absolute zero.
And obviously ZFS is not even. There's no way for legal reasons they would even touch that. Yeah.
Riser FS.
Riser.
Actually, Riser has been dropped from the Linux kernel. Riser support.
It has.
Yeah, because it's no
sad.
longer. I mean, it hasn't been maintained ever for years. I mean, that was what 12 years, 14 years ago. Whenever the guy killed his wife and went to prison.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's sad. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But ZFS is actually interesting because I've actually experimented with ZFS on Ubuntu, and it's quite interesting.
Yeah.
But
I nowadays do use ButterFS, but ZFS is interesting.
I've never used it outside of any of the BSDs because so many of the BSDs default to it. But on Linux, I don't think I've ever installed on physical hardware anything that I planned on running with ZFS.
In recent FreeBSD options, I think UFS is the default. You actually,
I think that's always been the case. UFS is the default, but ZFS is always an option. And I think I don't know what the numbers are, but I would bet probably most users probably go with ZFS. I would bet, but I don't know.
Yeah,
you don't know. If you're gonna run a file server, an S, a big recommendation nowadays is TrueNAS Scale, which is Debian based and runs ZFS for your data drives.
TrueNAS Scale. Okay.
Yeah.
I've got there's a website here for it.
It's a Linux variant of what was used to be some BSD TrueNAS.
Yeah, because TrueNAS was BSD, but I'm going to post a link in the YouTube chat in case anybody wants to check this out. It's using OpenZFS. Based on Debian Linux. Well, for one thing, you should get the distribution name right because Debian calls itself Debian GNU/Linux. So
I think both are correct.
Just out of respect, you should name the distribution that you're basing off of by the correct name.
Well, in news on the Vert Manager thing, I was not able to successfully get DTOS to boot up in it, but OpenSUSE Tumbleweed booted right into it. So it is working. I don't know what his issue is, so I have to message him. But your ISO, for some reason, didn't want to boot.
Now, that ISO was buggy when it was released even a month ago. It'll take about 2 minutes or so for it to boot in a VM.
All right.
So you might have to wait a minute.
Yeah, I did get it did load the cursor, but then
it'll probably eventually. There's a start job, a systemd start job. I don't know which one, but there's something causing an issue where it hangs for about 2 minutes, and then you'll get the login manager.
Yeah, but as far as
that's just in a VM, and that's just when you're running it off the ISO. When it's installed, it doesn't do that.
Yeah, no, but I'm just saying, as far as the VM concerned, Vert Manager, it's actually working. It doesn't hang like he said, so it's a him issue, I think.
Yeah, I could try it on my machine, but I don't want, because I'm streaming, I don't want to fire up a VM because it's going to suck up a lot of CPU and
cause some things to go.
Well, it might cause a little bit of buffering.
Yesterday, I didn't do my podcast because my PSU blew up. It died, and so I ran out and bought 1,000-watt power supply and put it in last night real quick, like in a hurry, and so I got plenty of power now.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised. I haven't had any power supply issues actually. The whole time I've been doing this YouTube channel, I don't think I've had to change a power supply for any of my machines, which is weird because before starting the YouTube channel, it seemed like a lot of the computers I had. Of course, I usually put a lot of crappy PSUs. And, the cheapest thing going. Don't do that. Here lately, what I've been doing is I've actually been buying good brands.
I went and bought a Corsair. I got a Corsair.
Yeah,
nice. I'm gonna say even if you buy everything else as cheap as possible on the computer, never skimp on a power supply.
No.
Yeah, I would agree with that because since I've been buying like name brand products, that's been all right.
In all fairness, the power supply that died was 10 plus years old. I actually can't remember when I bought it. You know, I mean, it was one of the first modular ones that came out. So
I had a 550 watt power supply that I just recycled, that I bought as a returned item at Fry's Electronics in 2006.
That's where I went and bought mine yesterday. It was from Fry's.
Yeah, and the only reason why I got rid of it is because something happened when I was doing it and the connector broke, and I'm like, I don't want to deal with this. And so, but I have an interesting story where I just had to finally upgrade from the 150 watt power supply in my main production machine, because I noticed when I was playing a certain game, my power supply was drawing over 600 watts. My GPU was drawing over 600 watts, and I'm like, yeah, that's a little cutting too close to the sun.
Yeah,
and so I ended up upgrading to I got a stupid deal on Newegg on a Corsair 1500 watt power supply. Yeah. So it was almost the same as buying a 1,000 watt supply.
Yeah, it's definitely better to go more than you need, because
and
just to have a little headroom just in case.
Linux Warrior Arch 677 in the chat says PSU quality is nonsense. They all go through rigorous testing, even the cheapest.
Well, the biggest thing you have to decide if you want to go with a single rail or multi-rail. That's really the biggest question. Yeah. But I mean, the rigorous testing supplies, especially if it doesn't come with a CE label or is UL, laboratory tested, then I would probably stay away from it. But there's a lot of new and upcoming brands that are really supported by they're almost like the store brand, or they're off-label, white label branding of major manufacturers. So it's kind of like in the appliance, your kitchen appliance or your laundry. KitchenAid or some of these other ones are made by GE or Whirlpool. And so they just have their banding, their badge on it, and they charge that that little bit premium to have that badge. So
at the end of the day, it is also the question of trust.
Yes.
And the question of, do you believe if something actually happens, there will be someone who would take the blame?
Yeah. And with appliances like Whirlpool, for example, people will buy it for the name, because not just branding purposes, but for warranty and for repairs. The fact that you can get certified repairmen to work on that particular brand.
You have
because if you have to ship it across the country to find a service center, if you do it like phones or other electronic devices, then obviously that's not economical, and you
might as well buy a new power supply at that point, right?
Yeah. So, but I've been really happy with that upgrade, and I haven't. Yeah, it's really scary when you cut it close, that much, especially when your CPU is taking 200, and I'm like, it's flying a little too close there.
You should be for the most optimal operations, you should be running power supply at about 75% capacity.
Yes, that's exactly. Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
And of course, it'll depend on what your computer is doing too. Obviously, he mentioned he was doing, was it gaming that was causing yours to?
It was actually playing the game Deep Rock Galactic. Apparently it's fairly demanding on the graphics.
Well, apparently so.
Yeah. But then again, I'm also somebody who will run Revit and when I'm in Windows and have maybe a virtual machine open and have twin motion renderings in the background. So I don't like to close things to make room for other things. For me, it's got to do all the things at once. So
it'd be interesting to see if you get that same kind of power usage on something like a Blender animation or something like that.
I should test. I'll do that, and then I'll report back next month.
Yeah.
That sounds interesting, actually. That does sound interesting to see what spikes it, what doesn't spike it.
Yeah.
Well, also just to know how far you can push it, right?
Well, what I want to check, actually, now that I think about it, I really should, because I'm a big flight sim fan, and so I have the latest Microsoft Flight Simulator, and I have it all enabled to take advantage of the mapping features and stuff like that. I mean, my install is like 200 gigs, and to take the live data and the map data, real stuff. And I should really see how much fly in a populated area, with lots of buildings and stuff, and see what that does too. I haven't
Downtown
actually done
Chicago.
that yet.
Fly
Yeah,
downtown
exactly.
Chicago, yeah.
Yeah, and so it's interesting, but I haven't. It's
or see how
interesting.
slow it gets when you have a eight person 0 AD game with a 300 pop max for each person, and we're all in the center of the map having a big ass battle.
Yeah, exactly. I used to play Command and Conquer a lot, and getting back into it, and that's one thing that on some of the budget PCs that I had put together, because I wasn't really in. I had taken a kind of a break from PCs just in general. Because for a couple of years I'd only used it at work, and I barely used a computer when I got home. I just got tired of looking at it in my mid-20s, and so I had something, and things would chug right along, and it was the frame rate would definitely take a hit. But one thing that I wish that Linux did better was, I wish there was something like hardware monitor, or something that's not a command line,
not a command line. A lot of people want a GUI monitoring software that.
I mean, Mango Hub does a pretty good job, but that's mostly in-game stuff. That's not a system-wide thing.
There is one that kind of works nice. It's really nice and it's NVTop. Have you played with that one?
Yeah, I've heard of it. I haven't tried it though.
I did a video.
It's basically HTOP.
It's HTOP. It's one of the tops for just your GPU
graphics cards.
Yeah, check out. I did a video on NVTop. Check it out.
Yeah, I just subscribed to your channel, so I'll check it out.
Yeah, but we really need tools for AMD.
Yeah, AMD especially.
Yeah. I'd like their adrenaline software. Have you seen that?
It's awesome. I use it.
It is freaky. Yeah, it is amazing. It is dude, if we can get them to port Adrenaline, which I don't understand why they don't. Why can't they port that over to Linux, considering they already do open source with everything?
Right, they've got the kernel drivers and everything.
Yeah.
So why not?
I mean, that Adrenaline software is, dude, it's amazing. It's wow, chef's kiss the whole way.
Yeah, I'm impressed with it, because when I use Windows, I check it every so often, and I was never, when I used NVIDIA, I really didn't. I would not install the GeForce Experience, because one, you have to have a login for it. Yeah. And it's one of those things. But yeah, that's a really good software. And I use Hardware Monitor mostly to kind of keep an eye on things, because I do have a 7900X, and even with a triple all-in-one cooler, they were not lying about the design spec for the temperature. And I can confirm.
I can also say for some of the early versions of the Threadrippers did not report the correct temperatures, because people were getting like insanely high readings for the temperatures. There was some bug that causes the reading to be wrong on Linux. So don't be surprised, like if you pull up your monitoring program of choice and it reports some weird temperature, because I've got liquid cooling in mine too, and sometimes Qtile, the widget for the CPU in Qtile, which I don't actually use, but if I did use it for the temperature, it's going to report some crazy high number, like 20-30 degrees Celsius over what it actually is. And that's a known bug.
You got to recalibrate your sensors, man. Break out that caliper.
Yeah. Well, let's get a last word from everybody, because we've only got a few minutes left, and we got quite a few people here in the chat. So why don't we all take a minute or so and give a last word? George, you want to mention anything else before we go?
Not really. Just thanks for having this again. It's great. Especially, it's a nice way to end up the year, and
it's nice that we ended up on the last day of the year for this one, right?
Yeah, I wasn't sure if you were going to have it, so I was thinking about it.
I thought I didn't. I didn't plan it out that far ahead of time. I didn't think about it until just 4 or 5 days ago. I was like, oh, the last Sunday of the month is usually when I do these, but it's going to be New Year's Eve. Is anybody going to show up? But actually, pretty much.
It's a healthy.
Yeah, we had a good crowd here.
Yeah.
I actually woke up in time for it.
Well, I was less concerned for those of us in the West, more, the Eastern Hemisphere guys, the Europe and Asia, it's like there's no way those guys are going to be here. Some of those guys are going to be so drunk they may not even be able to log into Zoom. But lo and behold, Steve was here, Jean-Michel.
That will still come. That's more at 9, 10, 11, and of course midnight time.
Well, we're not there yet. Well, thanks for hanging out with us, Steve, or George, and Happy New Year.
Yeah, thanks. You too.
Yeah. Ben's iPhone.
Well,
give us the last word.
Well, I will say that I'm getting less and less convinced to keep StormOS on Arch day by day, and I don't know if it's going to continue that way. And honestly, I don't know what I'm going to do in the future. I might go Debian. I don't know. I'm kind of conflicted right now, and I don't know what I want to do.
Yeah, I know the feeling.
Yeah,
I think we all have feelings like that about various things going on with our Linux lives. It's like nothing is ever perfect. Nothing's ever just horribly broken, but you never find that thing that's just right, that just never breaks.
Yeah, I know what you're saying, Derek. I mean, we've all had our fair share of Arch issues, and I just wish that, we all have our wishes, and I just don't know what I want to do about this.
Well, maybe you and Steve, some of the other folks that are thinking about leaving Arch, should get together. You guys just make your own Gentoo spin, maintain your own overlays,
Dude, I've tried making a Gentoo spin, and the dang documentation on that is less than equivalent, I hate to say.
Yeah. Well, that's why so many people build Arch distros, is because there's actually documentation on how to do it.
Yeah.
The same thing with Debian. There's good documentation on Debian for this kind of stuff too.
And I should say, I hate to use up more time, but Gentoo's documentation on ISL building is very slim, and I've tried it. It's just.
It's because you have to be kind of a madman to want to base a distribution off of Gentoo. There's just not that many.
No, I will say I did get an ISO to build, but getting it to boot, it's a whole damn other story.
Well, I can build an ISO, it just won't work.
Right.
Well,
yeah, go ahead, George.
I was gonna sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but just the way Dark Zero sounded and the way that you sounded, it's almost like
they're defeated.
Well, yes, there's a defeated. So instead of a protest distro, there needs to be a support group distro created.
That's not bad. Support OS. I like that. Anything else, Ben?
Well, I mean, I have built a Debian ISO before, and I might stick to Arch. I really don't know. I'm kind of conflicted at this point.
Well, think on it.
I'm going to think on it a little while and continue to, and I think about it. And maybe next month I'll have an answer. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, maybe talk to some other distro maintainers, because there's a lot of guys out there that have built various distributions on a lot of different bases. Maybe talk to some people that have worked in both on both Arch distros and Debian-based distros, and maybe ask their opinion.
I've talked to Esnix about it, and
that's a perfect one.
He won't. He's kind of pressed, to help people these days, and I don't know. That's why I was kind of wanting to get more than a last word in here, because I don't know what I want to do at this point.
Yeah, I don't know, Ben, but I wish you well. Wish you luck on that.
Thanks, Derek. And by the way, I'm still working on my next release. So I'm testing it right now, and but next month we'll talk more about that.
Yeah, very cool. All right, Alec.
Yes, sir.
Give us the last word.
Me, right?
Well, yeah.
Well, the last word that I got to give you, my brother, is thank you for putting this on, man. It's always an honor to be with you on anything that we do. And NV top for the win, Mr. George. NV top for the win. Give it a try.
I will do, and I'll see if I can't put together some data on some power usage for Blender renderings and stuff.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
let
very
me
cool.
know. Let me know if you can. Some way, either message me on the video or hit me up in Discord and DM or whatever. If you're not in my Discord, but let me know how MV Top works for you, man.
There's
I
a
was
chance that we are connected on another person's Discord.
Oh, that's fine. That's cool.
I'll
But
reach out. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool, man. Let me know. Let me know because I was blown away with it, dude. I just recently discovered the app, so it's pretty cool.
Sweet.
All right. Thanks for hanging out with us, Alec.
Yeah.
Steve, give us the last word, sir. Yeah. You're muted, Steve.
Oh, there.
There you
Okay.
go.
I'm
All right,
muted. First of all, I'm sorry I got a fan running here. Somebody thought I was in a server room. Thanks for everything you're doing. I stumbled upon your channel and loved all the Emacs stuff and had my struggles with customizing it and working that a couple times and then going back to it. It's just fun to learn from everybody. Anybody that's creating content, I admire and try to support when I can. So it's fun to just jump on board and learn. I mean, I feel like a noob, although I've been goofing around with Linux since around 2007.
You'll always be a noob, Steve.
Yeah.
That's the thing with this. You never know everything. It's impossible.
Yeah.
By the way, DT, somebody in the chat said Happy New Year's. 2024 is the year DT moves to Wayland.
On my home computer, I hope that's true because it's got that NVIDIA card in it, and I'm waiting for that to be realistic. Other than GNOME, like I'm not going to use GNOME. Like I'll use Xorg forever before I use GNOME. So because
I'm kind of
the
the
display
same way
server
there.
doesn't matter as much as the desktop environment, right?
Yeah.
Because my workflow matters more than the display server, and GNOME is just no. I'm not going to do it. So, but yeah. Anything else,
Hyperlink,
Steve? Not with NVIDIA, no.
Oh, that's me.
mean,
Well,
Sorry, I
happy
was
New Year,
saying,
Steve. Thanks for hanging out with us.
no worries,
Thanks
Steve.
for having me.
Yeah. And Derek, all I'm going to say is I'm the same way. I don't care if Wayland becomes standard. For me, as long as it effing works, I'm not moving.
Yeah, I'm not going to break things just to break things. Once it works, I'll use it. I have no problem using it.
Yeah,
it's just got to work before I decide to do that. Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Big Pod, give us the last word.
Please, everybody, check out my channel. I'm trying to get things a bit better now. And if you like my content, please subscribe. YouTube.com/BigPod. Otherwise,
and if you're a content creator, please don't raid Big Pod's streams while he's trying to be serious too. We had that problem the other day. There were certain content creators that wanted to
like
mess with him.
DistroTube and someone that's not here.
Yeah, that was Zany was messing with you, and then Hip Dad, he also wanted to chime in on some things too. It was pretty funny.
Yeah, I plan to make. Well, I plan to make a video every 2 weeks to lower that perfectionist problem I have. And then I plan to make it faster and faster cadence and stream. I plan to also stream quite a bit since it doesn't look like I want to have a job.
No.
So might as well do this. Been almost a year since I'm out of jobs, and it doesn't look like it's changing.
Yeah. Well, the good thing with video content or even audio only content like podcasting is it does provide you a little bit of a side hustle as a stopgap sometimes when you're between jobs. So I wish you well on that. Anything else?
So again, please subscribe if you like my content.
Yeah, leave a link in the YouTube chat. Since you're a mod, you can link your channel there.
And for the rest of you, Happy New Year's when it happens for you.
12 hours.
And have amazing 2024.
I probably won't be awake for the new year because I'm not staying. I usually am in bed well before midnight, but I'll hear about it the next day, all the craziness that happened.
Yep.
All right. Thanks, Big Pod. Happy New Year. Swedish Linux. Give us the last word.
This is the last word I'll say, but let's say that I can ditch Windows completely, so I don't need to use Filmora. That would be very, very nice to find something similar because it's very fast to do videos. especially when you're a single dad, you have a kids. Trust me, every second counts. But besides of that, DT, thanks for the super good material you're doing. I'm still shocked that you managed to do all that and still have a normal sense of humor. And
it wears on you sometimes.
Yeah, I thought so. It must.
Yeah. Sometimes it'll break you down. You have to have a strong constitution to be on YouTube.
Yeah, I discovered that because I just started my channel, restarted actually, and I'm on 18 video something, and I just tried to figure out best workflow. But if you want guys to subscribe, please do. You have the link in the chat. But I hope that really Linux gets better AMD drivers, because that's the only thing left, at least for OpenSUSE guy. That's the good drivers. Then I would be more than happy to ditch Windows for video content. Seriously.
Yeah.
And Happy New Year's, guys.
Yeah, I think I mean, we've got pretty good video editors on Linux. I mean, Kden Live for free and open source video editing. Kden Live is pretty powerful. It can be buggy depending on the release, but Kden Live can do practically anything that any of the big proprietary editors can do.
Just use a flat pack.
And if you wanted one of the bigger proprietary editors, DaVinci Resolve does have a Linux version.
Yep.
So
yeah, the only thing I actually miss from Kden Live, that's all the extra plugins that Filmora have. You have over 10 million plugins: video, intros, video, music, sounds, everything. You have entire library to work with, and that helps you a lot than doing the music, doing the intro from scratch. That's the only reason. Because I used Kden Live before I switched to Filmora, but I want to extend.
Now, I thought Kden Live had plugins for downloading things like sound effects and things. I don't use any of that stuff, but I'm pretty sure if it's not built in, there's at least ways to extend it for that functionality. So
they have a Discord. You should go try their Discord server.
I will, definitely.
Just like the OBS server. Is a good one.
Yeah, the Kden Live community is actually pretty big. There's a lot of people that use Kden Live, not just on Linux, because Kden Live is cross-platform. There's actually a Windows version. I've actually used it on Windows before, believe it or not, and it does work.
Thanks for the tip, Linux Tube.
You're welcome.
All right. Well, Happy New Year to you, Swedish Linux. Aliens, I don't know if he's mic'd up. He may not be. If he is, he can give us the last word. If not, we will move on to Jean-Michel. Jean-Michel, give us the last word. And we'll come back to Aliens if he joins.
I don't have a lot of things to say. As the other, I would like to thank you, DT, for all the great content. Wish everyone a happy new year. Hoping that there will be not too many crazy stuffs. And yeah, all the best. So now for me, I already hear some noise in the house. So people arrive for New Year. Yeah. So I will go and wish you all the best and see you next time.
All right. Thanks, Jean-Michel. And we had someone join here in the last few minutes. Chris, did you want to give us a last word? I know this will be your first and last word, but I don't know if you're mic'd up and want to say anything.
Can you hear me?
Yep, we got you.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. All right.
Ooh, yeah.
Perfect. I've followed you, DT, for I don't know, it feels like a couple years now. I'm always excited to see a new video pop up. It's always interesting. I have no idea what this last word is, but I assume it's we're wrapping up the Zoom call thing.
Yeah, we usually go for about 2 hours or so, but take whatever time you want to speak your mind. Anything you on your mind, or
just wanted to say I'm excited to actually it's weird when you watch someone on YouTube for a long time and you get this sort of like celebrity vibe about them, and then when you actually are like talking to them on Zoom, it makes them a real person, and it's kind of like a surreal little moment here. So I appreciate you taking the time to Zoom with us, and I'll be I've been trying to switch to Linux for probably 5 or 6 years now, and it has always boiled down to the games that my friends want to play tend to be the games that have
Yep.
anti-cheat stuff, like Ring Zero stuff that like Linux doesn't play well with, or they don't write it so it plays well with Linux. I don't know.
Yeah, I've got family members like that. I've got a couple of nieces that in their early 20s and have used Linux on and off over, I don't know, the last 10 years, because me being around, I'll put Linux on some of their older machines, but like on their main computers that they game on, they won't run anything but Windows, because there's like one game that they play and that all of their friends play, and they have to be in that game with their friends, so they have to run Windows. I get that. You don't want to be left out, right? You don't want to choose an operating system that kind of alienates you from.
That's when you boot up a Windows and a virtual machine just to play those games.
Yeah, but that would require a lot of.
Yeah.
That's a monster machine. Yeah.
Depending on the game, yeah.
I've been on and off on Linux since Jesus. Before I joined the Navy, so more than 21 years ago. I remember my first one being Slackware Linux off a Walnut Creek CD that I had to order. So it's been near and dear to my heart for many years, and for one freaking reason or another, either the company I worked with or being part of the military, it's just been more of a hassle to stick with Linux and then try to figure workarounds, and then and now everything is enterprise, SharePoint, all that kind of stuff. So,
well, that's usually the one sticking point for people is it's either job or university where they have to use Windows only software. And if that's the case, obviously you would never want to jeopardize work or school. So, I mean, just if you have to use Windows, you just have to use Windows. Yeah.
So
you can always have a side machine or a dual boot or even VMs if you want to play with Linux.
The workaround is my home PC is currently running Pop OS, and the laptop immediately to my left is running Pop OS. This machine is running Windows, and then of course my work machine is running Windows. So I can still,
have the best of both worlds.
My needs,
Yeah, there you go.
So
you got a KVM switch so you can bounce around with the same monitor and keyboard.
I thought about I have my monitor at home is a big Samsung Odyssey G9, so I don't have multi monitors. I've just got one stupidly big monitor.
Yeah.
Which a weird complaint about it is oftentimes games like your little pop-ups and notifications that you've achieved stuff happen on the edges of your monitor. Well, for me, that's outside of my
too far
vision.
to
I literally have to turn my head to see stuff, so I miss stuff all the time. But anyways, thanks for doing the Zoom. Thanks for just doing what you do on YouTube.
Appreciate that, Chris.
On Odyssey and all the other platforms. Yeah. Much appreciated, man.
Thanks for keeping our nation safe. Thank you.
Yeah, and Happy New Year. All right, and let me get my last word in. Obviously, thanking you guys for joining me on camera, and we had a couple of folks that were here on camera with us that had to jump off early. Thanks to all you guys. Thanks to the YouTube chat, because we did have a lot of good questions and comments and discussions in the YouTube chat. Especially from you, Linux Warrior Arch 667, who had a lot to say today about various distributions that are not Arch. And right, appreciate you guys. And of course, I'm going to show some names on the screen. This is some cards here with all the patrons. So I want to thank all the patrons, including the ones that were not here on camera. So appreciate each and every one of these ladies and gentlemen here. And other than that, everybody wave bye to YouTube and yell out your favorite game on Steam that you've been playing a lot here lately.
Generation Zero.
Civilization.
Civilization. I like that one.
Baldur's Gate 3.
Yeah.